What's up guys, this is Joel with Car Thoughts, and here are the top 10 cars you should never buy. If you value your life, your money, and your dignity, don't get any of these cars. You'll be surprised on how the last one even got on this list, so make sure you stick to the end. This list is especially important for people who are looking to purchase their first car. Coming in at number 1, we have the 2005 to 2010 BMW M5. There's a reason why BMWs depreciate like my college GPA did. This thing came with a huge V10 motor, but you have to understand, this is BMW's first time ever putting one in their car, so it's bound to have issues like any flagship car. Just to name a few, before you even hit 100,000 miles, you have to deal with rod bearings, the Vanos pump, where if it actually goes bad, the car pretty much just goes into limp mode and drives like a snail. Not to mention, these cars in general love to leak oil and always seem to have electrical issues. I see so many BMWs on the road that have a headlight out, it's not even funny. And they also seem to have issues with their turn signals never working. Not to mention airbag issues. You're pretty much playing Russian roulette if you end up in a car accident. Save yourself the money on these cars, honestly. At number 2, we got the 2015 and 2016 Subaru WRX. Man, if you want a car that loves to eat and throw rods, then get this car. These models were known to be abused and have tunes that would grenade your motor in 3 business days. There are also stories on Reddit of owners who have to replace their entire motor and have oil issues within the first 4 months of ownership, which is enough for me to never want to buy a WRX. And this is all within 50,000 miles. There's also another story of a guy who had to replace his battery at 35k miles, and his spark plugs caused knocking issues at only 22,000 miles. The horror stories go on and on, and to be honest with you, if you're planning on buying this car, just keep it stock, or at least don't mess with the ECU or add any crazy performance mods. Another issue with these cars is that they always seem to have the entire vape nation driving them, so it might be all that vape juice and fumes getting into y'all's engine compartments, causing them to blow up so prematurely. Next at number 3, we got the Maserati Gran Turismo, specifically their flagship car in 2008. As most of you guys probably know, Maseratis have some of the worst depreciation of any car. It had a sticker price of over $100,000 when it came out, but now you can get them for $15,000, which is pretty insane. Talk about a bad investment. These had many electrical and suspension issues. There are also reports of oil leaks and overheating issues. The interior of these cars are also known to not be high quality, even though it's a luxury car. Not only will you have an exotic when owning this car, but you'll also be paying exotic prices when something goes wrong within the first couple of days of ownership. For the same price of what you can get for them today, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say I'd rather own a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla than deal with the ticking time bomb that is Maseratis in general. Next, we got some Japanese cars, which I'm sure you might be surprised to hear, but at number 4, we are talking about the Nissan Ultimas from 2013 to 2016 that came with a CVT, which stands for continuously variable transmission. This means a car never truly shifts, it just keeps going and going, the equivalent of being soulless in the car community. These transmissions were known to be so bad that they had numerous class action lawsuits for them going bad in such a short amount of time, and Nissan Tech even reported replacing more transmissions in 2013 than he did in his entire 16-year career combined. Nissan in general was going through it during this time period, and people were reported that paying like $4,000 just to put a new transmission in their car when it only had 60,000 miles. I actually had a friend who owned a Nissan Sentra with a CVT, and it completely went out on him and left him stranded on the road, and he had gotten that car not too long ago. CVTs in combination with Nissan Ultima drivers in of itself is a tragedy waiting to happen. The big Ultima energy never ceases, and Nissan knows this, so they are willing to continue to make crappy cars to make even more money off of their drivers. At number 5, we got the Range Rover Sport. Oh yes, who would have guessed? Another European car. We are starting to see a trend here. This is because a lot of luxury and exotic car manufacturers simply don't put their focus on reliability, but rather looks and the feel and drive of the car. It's hard to get the best of all worlds, and the common theme here is that there's a lot of electrical issues and also the belt slipping and completely destroying the engine at 50,000 miles on these cars, which is crazy. And don't even get me started on the factory air suspension on these cars. The compressors love to go out, and they can have some pretty unreliable turbos. So it's not really a good family car, I guess, considering it's looked at as a mom car. And next at number 6, we got to talk about some American brands. You know, I don't just want to throw shade on European cars, we got them bad here too. We're talking about the 2019 to 2024 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid. Quality of the interiors and electrical problems have been complained about by so many people. Some even say that their infotainment systems randomly shuts off or glitches, and they have to restart the car constantly to fix it. Some guy even said he has a 2020 and it completely shut off on him on the highway, and apparently his transmission had to be replaced. That's some pretty dangerous business. business. This all happened a week after he purchased the vehicle. Now, my family loves Chryslers and never had any issues with the Chrysler 300s or older town and country vans. But when it comes to these newer models with all the extra technology, it seems like they have made these cars a lot more complicated than they have to be, and customers are paying for it. These cars are also known to be full of cheap plastic, and honestly, if you want a minivan for the family, go with a Toyota Sienna or a Honda Odyssey. You'll have a lot less to worry about. At number 7, we got the 2009 to 2011 Audi A4. Multiple consumers report to stay away from this car because of all the oil burning issues and the piston rings going bad. Unless that motor's rebuilt, don't even think about buying them. The timing chains on these cars love to stretch too, which is a ticking time bomb for their motors at this point. Unless you got a solid 5 to 10K in your hand to fix this car, they aren't worth buying. Imagine buying this car thinking you're going to modify it and all your budget goes into fixing it up. And it's going to be in the shop for months while you still have to make payments on it. Not really worth it to me, and I mean, I like Audis, specifically the Audi RS3, because it sounds like a Lamborghini Huracan and has half the cylinders, and it really just looks like any Audi until you hear the turbo spool. Not to mention, a lot of these older European cars sink in value, so although it may seem like a cool or cheap car to get, you're going to end up spending a lot more on repairs. At number 8, we got another American car. Who would have guessed? The 2002 to 2003 Ford Explorer. Ford Explorers have received over 12,000 complaints in the last 20 years, drastically more than any other Ford model, which is saying something. People even like to call these Ford Exploders because they love to blow up. Their rear differentials go out, and if you get the V6 model, the transmission can start failing under 30,000 miles. There's even a story of a guy who got his transmission replaced, and on the way home it blew up. The timing chains on these cars also love to go bad and can be super brittle. Don't even get me started on the electrical issues. Honestly, I would stay away from Ford Explorers in general unless you get some of the newer ones or the decommissioned Explorer cop car so you can scare people on the road. That's really the only reason I'd get one, so people can get out of my way in the left lane. Now, this one may hurt some feelings, especially like Pontiac enthusiasts out there, but at number 9, we need to talk about the Pontiac Fiero, and boy, did this thing earn its name. 370,000 units of these cars were made, and 1 out of 400 of them would explode or catch on fire. That's 925 units and potential lives Pontiac was going to take unknowingly. Pontiac actually knew about the issues these cars had before even releasing them. They said connecting rods in the engine could actually blow through the block and cause an oil leak and a fire. I'm not gonna lie, if I get unalived in a car accident, I would be mad if I was in a Pontiac. I'm just surprised they were able to produce so many units after all the issues that were going on with these cars. That would be a cool challenge for a video though, buying and driving Pontiac Fieros until one blows up. And finally, at number 10, we got the Hummer EV. As if the regular Hummer wasn't bad enough, with its 8 miles per gallon and how ugly it was. These cars are known to have some pretty bad electrical issues, which is plain ironic. The Stradman made numerous videos about this car, and in one he showed how it left him stranded and how it was quite inconvenient to own. And he had just purchased the car. It gets about 315 miles of range on one charge, and you can fully charge it in about an hour, which is quite impressive. The downfall here is the dependability of this car in general. It's known to have loss of power, which honestly isn't surprising due to the fact that it's over 9,000 pounds, and at the end of the day, why would you even need a car like this? It sucks off-roading, and if you run out of power, you're out of luck in the wilderness. Other than that, you guys, those are the top 10 cars we don't recommend purchasing. If you have any other cars you think we should have put on this list, make sure you put them down below in the comment section. Be sure to subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.